We have been hearing bits and pieces of this so-called Russia probe, so-called collusion between Trump and the Russians with absolutely zero evidence. Is that the insurance policy? Was Peter Strzok basically saying to his mistress, look, we're just going to keep investigating Donald Trump should he win?
Boy, it surely reads that way, but the only way we're going to know that is to interview Lisa Page and Peter Strzok.
What bothers people out there is you have to be able to trust your FBI, your CIA, your IRS, because there is a thing called the rule of law. And what we've learned from some of these text messages is that there is a whole lot of bias and corruption going on at the top. Tell us what you've learned.
Yeah, and it's important to emphasize there are tens of thousands of great men and women who every day keep us safe, prevent terrorist attacks, solve crimes at the FBI, but they are being besmirched by several people in the leadership of the FBI that have a shocking contrast in the way they took the approach they took to the Clinton investigation and the one they've taken to the Trump investigation.
You joined us 4 weeks ago on this program. At that time, you said you wanted to get the electronic communication from the Department of Justice and the FBI. You wanted that electronic communications to understand exactly how the Trump investigation into collusion even began. You've now since seen the electronic communication, yes?
That's correct. So it took us a long time to actually get this, what's called the electronic communication. As we know it now for your viewers, what that is it's the original intelligence, the original reasons that the counterintelligence investigation was started. Now, this is really important to us because a counterintelligence investigation uses the tools of our intelligence services that are not supposed to be used on American citizens. So we've long wanted to know, well, what intelligence did you have that actually led to this investigation? So what we found now, after the investigators have reviewed it, is that, in fact, there was no intelligence.
If you ask the FBI today how much of the dossier is verified, almost none, and the verification comes from open media sources. This dossier was prepared by a foreign agent paid by the Democratic Party and used to get a FISA warrant, and the FBI, former FBI director, did not know that it was a political document paid by a political party. To me, that is stunning. Right. Not only was the Clinton email investigation a joke, the dossier was used inappropriately.
So how do you call yourself someone who, agrees with and follows the rule of law if, in fact, you used a piece of garbage as, the reason to wiretap and listen in on an American citizen?
Any comments on Peter Strzok and these testimonies that we're seeing, Rod Rosenstein, Christopher Wray? Why don't you just direct your subordinates to get those documents over to Congress? Are you going to do it?
So I have this country running like a top. Mike Pompeo is doing great. We really have a great group of people. The one thing I want to stay uninvolved in, at least for now, I may get involved. Okay. But I've been told by so many people, don't get involved. Other people got involved, and it's not good. And they'll get the documents, and they're getting them, and they're great people. I didn't like the scene the other day where everybody's screaming at each other. I don't like that because it's bad for the country. If Russia is, in fact, looking to sow discord or chaos, they've got to be saying, this is the greatest thing we've ever done. Okay? Now, there's no collusion with me. There's no Russia with me. There's no nothing. Honestly, it's a disgrace.
I see all of the evidence. I got it. And I understand, I think, what took place in 2016. And yet, it hasn't resonated with the broad public as much. It's incredible that they've thrown out their ideals, their values, of all of the things we hold dear, our freedoms, wiretapping someone for no reason because it's Donald Trump.
Yeah, number one, I'm really discouraged as a former Justice Department official who gave 17 years of his life to the Justice Department, to see a Justice Department under Sessions that will do nothing about this.
They had informants trying to lure Trump campaign officials to get them into meetings. They had a media leak strategy, apparently, all the while knowing that there was no collusion. I mean, this is just extraordinary, Congressman.
More than 70 witnesses appeared before the House Intelligence Committee. All of them were asked the same question. What evidence do you have of Russian collusion with Donald Trump or the Trump campaign? What evidence do you have of conspiracy? What evidence do you have of coordination? And they batted 1,000 in their response. These are folks like Susan Rice and Samantha Power, senior DOJ and department officials and intelligence and law enforcement officials, and they all said, we don't have any.
We've covered this a lot for the last year and a half, and we know that there was real FISA abuse, where the FBI did not tell the FISA judge who paid for the dossier that it was a political document, etc. Are you going to pursue that? Are you going to seek the truth there?
Maria, that's not accurate, and I've looked at every single one
accurate,
of the FISA affidavits that the Justice Department in any way misled the judge. I understand that that's a Republican talking point, but that's simply not accurate.
I didn't say misled. They did not tell the judge that the Democrats paid for the dossier. That's a fact.
How are you going to get anything done with all of this?
This should never happen to another president. What happened to me, they came up with an excuse for losing an election. This should never happen to another president, because most presidents wouldn't be able to take it. I know the politicians, I know the president, I know what we're dealing with. Most people wouldn't be able to take it. Let me tell you something, Maria. What happened to me should never happen to another president of the United States.